Our topic this month is the Zen Commandments. It's the title of this book by Dean Slater, the 10 Suggestions for a Life of Inner Freedom. And he writes at the beginning of the book these lovely words. He says, "Not being a Zen master, I've got a lot of nerve writing about Zen. And not being a chosen prophet, I've got chutzpah handing down commandments." But this book is about neither commandments nor Zen, per se. It is about the discovery of inner freedom in Zen, but also in the Gospels, the movies, and a lot of other places, and how this freedom can lead naturally to kindness without the need to be commanded. So beautiful, and it really is the approach of our Center for Spiritual Living, the idea that truth can be found everywhere, anywhere that we choose to look for it. It can be discovered and found right there. Indeed, that's what our theme is for this whole year. One truth, many paths. And as we look at these many paths, I'm reminded that we're not trying to become Zen Buddhists. We're not trying to become Jewish. We're not trying to become Hindu. We're not trying to become anything. We are science of mind metaphysicians. And we have our own practices and we have our own teaching. And yet that doesn't stop us from being inquisitive about other ways and exploring other faiths with awe and with respect. And discovering, wow, look how diverse the ways of believing are. And we can do that without losing our foundation. We stay strong in our foundation. It's nice to remember from time to time, what is that foundation? Quick review. The very first principle of science of mind metaphysics is oneness. In other words, divinity is non-dual. So everything is related. Everything is related. The second is that through this relationship with divinity, our own thinking process is creative. And the third is that the way we use the creative power of our thought and the creative power of creation itself is by spiritual mind treatment, which is our own fancy term for affirmative prayer. And the fourth is meditation, which is the way we access and listen to the wisdom of creation so that when we do use our creative mind, we use it in an intelligent and sound way. And number 5 is selfless service, so that we grow in our understanding and expand our perspective beyond our personal needs, beyond our personal wants, and begin to sense the needs and wants of all of creation around us and to take a part in helping to realize those. And spiritual study is further growth in becoming aware of who I am, what has heart value and meaning for me, and what am I supposed to be doing? And the last group is the practices, giving and receiving and forgiving and expressing gratitude that stimulate our experience of the abundant flow that is creation. So nothing we have studied so far this year is intended to replace or displace any of these core practices. Rather, they're intended to provide inspiration through looking at the variety and seeing, wow, look how many similarities there are, and look at some of the differences, too. And then when we come back to our practice, it's with a sense of that expansiveness that we come back. That's how I've been looking at these Zen commandments. I just started with the 10 titles of the Zen commandments and asked myself, how do they relate to what I've learned so far at the center? And I'm going to read them to you, and I invite you to do the same thing. As I read them to you, the titles, see if they evoke a thought of something that is similar in the science of mind that you've been learning here if you've been hanging around here for a while. Number 1, rest in openness. Number 2, act with kindness. Notice the moment. recognized teachers. Keep it simple. Be devoted. No appointment, no disappointment. Bless everyone. Disconnect the dots. And be a mensch and enjoy the joke. So I've been reading them and thinking about our own faith tradition. And on Wednesday evenings, we're going to carry on. And I'm going to be talking about these Zen commandments also from the perspective of what the author is saying about it. But for today, I'd like to frame them in terms of our tradition. With the first one, rest in openness. Here's what I learned at the center. This is a universe of endless possibility. And to enjoy that, I have to practice being open to it. It says in our textbook, already the door is open and whosoever will may enter. But the walking in is up to me. If I want to be in the party, I have to go through the door. And I love the term rest in an attitude of acceptance and openness, because it implies no stress. No strain. Read this with me. It comes right out of our textbook. If one would take time once a day at least to let go of all that is not true and lay hold of reality, let go of doubt, distrust, worry, condemnation, and fear, and lay hold of life in its expression of beauty, truth, and wholeness, their mental congestion would be healed. Whoa. In other words, practice daily to take time to be open to what life has. Sometimes when I teach workshops, at the beginning of the workshop, I'll say to people, what is your intention for this workshop? What do you want to get out of it? And it's cute to watch sometimes people will say, oh, politely, I want to connect, or I want to learn something, or I want to have a good time, or what it is. And sometimes I'll challenge them. I'll say, is that it? Is that all you want? What if you supersized that? I mean, instead of having a good time, why not have an intention of having an ecstatic revelation of the divine nature of my being? So like connect with people. How about falling radically in love with every single person over here so I no longer can see the separation of anything in life? And I think, from feedback I've heard, some people say, well, I've been too busy resting in closedness or meekness or politeness or not worthiness or dwelling in ideas from the past, and maybe I've forgotten to lay hold of the truth. I just haven't given it equal time. I haven't been practicing. And then sometimes I ask people, what is standing between you and the realization of your intention? I mean, what are the things you typically do to sabotage that? Don't you know they have no problem in explaining that in graphic detail? Because they've been practicing that. They've been resting in their faults. So they haven't given equal time to the other side of the equation. They haven't let themselves rest in the openness to the idea that life is limitless potential. They haven't let themselves dream as much as they worry. They haven't let themselves hope as much as they doubt. Number 2, act with kindness. Why? Because of that oneness thing that is our first principle. Because what I do to you, I'm doing to me. And what I do to me, I'm doing to you. We're connected in the most intimate possible way. Listen to this pearl of wisdom I found right in our textbook. Pure religion manifests itself through acts of kindness and mercy. It is not arrogant, claiming a front seat in heaven, but it is humble before the great whole. It unifies with all humanity and finds no great difference between saint and sinner. Such a religion as this the world of today needs, for it is sick of pretense and would like a practical demonstration of a belief in God made manifest through good works. Ooh. So to me, as I read this, I remember that acting kindly is a way to make reality out of goodness through our actions. Ooh. Number 3, notice the moment. Why? Well, because otherwise you might get stretched thin between yesterday, which is already gone, and tomorrow, which is not yet come. Then you'll miss the present moment. Oops. Read this one with me from the textbook. Today is the day of complete salvation. Not tomorrow or the day after, but now. Yeah, that's right. It's big. You know, my grandmother used to say to me, Edward, there is no time like the present for you to do your tasks. Then later I would learn at the center that there is no time but the present to do my tasks. Every present moment, you and I stand at a crossroad of many, many, many possibilities, more than we can imagine. And we get to notice that moment in every moment and realize the difference between walking aimlessly through life or exercising some choice in the direction that we might want to go. Every moment packed full with possibility. Number 4, recognize teachers. Oh, well, you know, not everyone who says they are a teacher ought to be followed. Right? I try to notice the teachers who teach that there is only one, whatever it is. I try to pay attention to that. You know, that's what a mystic is. A mystic in our text is not a mysterious person, but one who has a deep inner sense of life and of their unity with the whole. And such a teacher is one who guides us to our own realization of the same thing for ourselves. So they're not inclined to say, I have the answer. You should follow me. They're not inclined to say, I am more special than you. I'm more connected. No, they tend to say, you don't need me. Because there can be no closer relationship than that between you and the mind of creation in which you live and breathe and move and have your being. You don't need anybody between you and it. It's not possible. So these teachers tend to say, like Jesus did, don't you know who you are? These teachers tend to say, like Jesus did, what I do, you will do too, and you will surpass it, according to the nature of endless expansion and evolution. I try to pay attention to those teachers and less attention to the ones who think they know what is best for me. Number 5, keep it simple. Because when we overcomplicate it, when we overthink it, when we overanalyze it, when we overdramatize it, we sometimes miss it entirely. It being life, your life. Oh, don't miss it because of drama. That's not a good thing to miss it for. I want to read you something else from the textbook. This one's a little longer than the others, but it's so worth it. Here, I'll read it to you. It is a beautiful and true thought to realize that every person stands in the shadow of a mighty mind, a pure intelligence, and a divine livingness. Not alone unto the great comes the soft tread of the unseen guest. The arrogant have not perceived the simplicity of faith, but the pure in heart see God. The farmer has seen the heavenly host in the fields. The child has frolicked with God at play. The mother has clasped God to her breast, and the fond lover has seen God in the eyes of the beloved. We look too far away for reality. Oh, what a beautiful message. You know, it means this. Come home. Come back to here. Come back to now. Come and notice the amazing power of this present moment where you are right now. Can it be so simple? I think so. There doesn't seem to be anything better. Number 6, be devoted. Now, devotion means ardent, often selfless love and dedication. It can be inwardly directed to an idea, or it can be outwardly directed to a task or a person. It's a special kind of love. It is characterized by steadfastness, and it requires no recognition, and it is satisfied in itself. It's respectful attention given without the need of repayment. Now, in our teaching at the center, devotion is emphasized as a daily spiritual practice. So I'm going to read to you all of the references to daily to give you a sense of it. You ready? Listen to this. The one who wishes to work out their problems must daily take the time to meditate and do spiritual mind treatments. We should daily feel a deeper union with life, a greater sense of that indwelling God, the God of the seen and of the unseen within us. Let us daily say to ourselves, perfect God within me, perfect life within me, come forth into expression through me as that which I am. Lead me ever into the paths of perfection and cause me to see only the good. To daily see the perfection in the person and to daily declare this perfection for their circumstances is correct mental practice, and it will reveal wholeness. To daily meditate on the perfect life and to daily embody the great ideal is the royal road to freedom, to that peace which passeth understanding. Affirmative prayer should be repeated daily until healing takes place. If it takes 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, or 5 years, the prayer must be kept up until wholeness is revealed. If daily we are realizing more of truth and applying it in our actions, then we are on the right path, and eventually we shall be made free. You get the idea? To me it says devotion. To give respectful attention to my practices, to have a passion for prayer and meditation and service and giving, to love doing it and to enjoy doing it and to do it not only for myself but for all beings, and to be devoted to it so much that it finds a home in my life every day. Number 7. No appointment, no disappointment. I can't wait to read what the author has to say about this one. I haven't got there yet. But I can't help but think of what the Buddha said about what attachment does. And I'm thinking also about our teaching at the center, which reminds me to maintain a good-natured flexibility when dealing with life. You know, because if you don't have a taste for paradox and contradiction, this is going to be rough on you. Life is going to torture you. It's filled to the brim with ambiguity and contrast. It's really hard for people who see it in black and white. Read this one with me. Nature demands change in order that we may advance. When the change comes, we should welcome it with a smile on the lips and a song in the heart. Oh. Many things that change in my life are characterized with claw marks on them. Right? Have you ever tried to stop something or someone from changing? Oh, I have. It's awkward. It halts all progress for me alone as the world goes where it's going anyway. Number 8, bless everyone. According to our teaching, blessing is constructive thoughts directed to anyone or anything. So you bless someone when you look at them and you see the truth of their being. You see divinity in them. So it's an inside job. Nothing happens to the person except as a result of the way you treat them now, because now you're going to treat them like they're God. And to bless their business is to see the truth about their business, to think correctly about their business, meaning according to the truth that is already established. So you're not making something happen, you're discerning what is already true. Now, take this blessed meditation in from our book. The power within me is blessing all of humankind and is forever healing all with whom I come in contact. The power within me is God, and it must bless and help and heal all who come near it. Silently, the work goes on, and silently all are being helped by this inner power which is operating through me. I will give thanks that my power within is silently blessing and helping everyone to whom my thought reaches. The life within me blesses all of humankind. Now that is a meditation for daily use. You don't even have to tell anybody what you're doing. You're sort of rearranging your consciousness so that it is in alignment with the truth of your being every day. Ooh, what might become of us if we lived that? Number 9, disconnect the dots. You know that means untangle the threads of meaning to get to the plain, ordinary, simple truth of what is going on here. Because, sometimes we make up stuff that isn't so. Did you know that? One of my teachers said, we're all graduates of MSU, making stuff up. Where we layer on meaning that isn't there. And it can sometimes get in the way of knowing the actual truth. Now we keep on layering it on. Very soon we believe it more than we believe the truth. We might even defend it. Sometimes it's layered on. We don't even know where it came from. It could be society. It could be culture. It could come through customs and traditions. Who knows where it comes from? And it can get in the way of knowing ourselves for what we truly are. So in our tradition, we try to find those ideas that are not true, even though they are still believed in, so that we can neutralize them, replace them through our practices with truth ideas, so that we can be restored to what we have always been. It says, train yourself to think what you wish to think. Be what you wish to be. Feel what you wish to feel. And place no limit on principle. The spiritual laws, the process of God. Place no limit on what it can do for you. Train yourself. What a liberating thought. And then, just if your mind is getting too tense right now, number 10, be a mensch and enjoy the joke. Oh, you can't take all of this too seriously. You got to remember to have some fun. I looked up in our textbook the word joke, I couldn't find it. I looked up mensch, I couldn't find it. But I could find many, many references to laughter and happiness being healthy. This world, the book says, is saturated with divinity and filled with possibility. We must take this and mold it into everyday experience, into our everyday experience, because this is the way to freedom and the pathway to happiness. Oh. You know, I'll tell you something about me. You may already know it. But I really love our tradition. I really love science of mind. I mean, I'm an explorer and a seeker of truth. I love exploring other faith traditions and dabbling, but I love our tradition. And I come back to it over and over again and find ideas there that make me go, what? Did I not read that before? And I find in it practical advice, and I find it in it mystical ideas. And I know it's not a revelation in the sense of it being a holy book. It is a compilation of ideas like the Zen commandments that suggest a way to live. And I love that. I know it's not the only way. But for me, it is the way that resonates with me deeply. And I'm so glad that we are journeying it together. It's exciting. We don't know where it will go. But for the moment, I trust it. On Wednesday evening, I invite you to come and join us, and we're going to talk a little bit more about how the author himself approaches his Zen commandments. That'll be exciting. For now, let us pray together. I invite you to breathe in and exhale as we take a moment to recognize that divinity that saturates the world with infinite possibility according to its nature. That endless possibility, that endless energy in which we live and breathe and move and have our being. And with this, our prayer, we are taking it and molding it and re-expressing it and participating with it and dancing with it and choosing with it. We are shaking loose whatever chains may have previously bound us, and we are feeling our freedom to live, to be. And in this comes the realization of the amazing, complex, diverse nature of reality. And we take it in with awe and wonder, with thanksgiving in our heart, and with a sense that all is well. And I release this word into the law of mind, expecting fully to see the results of our prayer in our day-to-day activity. And so it is.